Good morning, parents, grandparents, and all family members, friends, and guests. Ithaca College welcomes you. The academic procession is now arriving at the east gate of Butterfield Stadium. The procession into the stadium will begin with a fanfare composed for this occasion by Ian Weiss, graduating composition major. The academic procession is led by the college marshal. He is accompanied by the 5 senior class officers and the 2 senior class gift committee co-chairs. Now entering the stadium are the first of our degree candidates. They are from our founding school, the School of Music. They are led by the student marshals, Caitlin Elizabeth DeHority and Gregory Sisko. And here is the School of Humanities and Sciences. Leading the students are student marshals Heather Crespin and Andrew John Rodenhouse. by the student marshals Elizabeth G. Cox and Emily Stark Masters. the School of Business. Leading the students are student marshals Meredith Courtney Maley and Dewey Pelushi. Ladies and gentlemen, a reminder that only graduates, faculty, and authorized personnel are permitted on the field during today's ceremony. Violators will be asked to leave the field. In the unlikely event of an emergency, please proceed to the nearest and safest exit while keeping in mind that it may not be how you entered the stadium. Look to event staff and public safety personnel to direct you upon exiting the stadium. Thank you for your cooperation. welcome the graduates from the School of Health Sciences and Human Performance. They are led by the student marshals Amanda Awesomes and Allison J. McQueenie. all of our degree candidates are now on the field. From the schools of music, please raise your banner. Humanities and sciences, please raise your banner. Communications, please raise your banner. Business, please raise your banner. And health sciences and human performance, please raise your banner. Now entering the stadium are members of the Ithaca College Alumni Association Board of Directors. Next in the academic procession are members of the Ithaca College faculty. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Ithaca College Board of Trustees, members of the administration, and our guest speaker, Adam Ellick, and our college president, Thomas R. Rochon.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, the 121st commencement of Ithaca College is now convened. Please rise for the singing of the alma mater and the national anthem of the United States of America, and remain standing for the invocation.
See Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good morning, everyone. Congratulations to you all. A man by the name of Saint Irenaeus from the 2nd century is quoted as saying, "The glory of God is man fully alive." In today's language, it would be a human being fully alive. There is something about a life well lived, something about reaching our potential that warms the heart of God and reflects the divine image to those around us. But the paradox of it all is that in the Christian tradition, at least, this abundance, this fullness of life, this glory is found precisely in giving ourselves away, as Jesus himself modeled for us. Whoever wants to be great among you must be a servant, he taught his disciples. And even in the very beginning, as God works through Abraham to form a people for himself, it is clear that our blessing is always to be found in our becoming a blessing to others. Frederick Buechner also captures this well when he says, "The place God calls you to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet." Friends, you are indeed called by God. You are called into a life of meaning and joy that can only be found in something bigger than yourself. And so, for guidance and for grace, let us pray. Gracious God, you are the giver of all good things. On this day of transition, we give you thanks for all that has brought us here today, for the parents and families of these graduates, for the IC faculty and staff who've gone above and beyond, for the economic means we do not take for granted, for all the ways you guided us to this point without our awareness and even apart from our own effort. Go with us now into a world of possibilities. Guide our paths to employ our gifts and passions for the greater good. Guide our hands and feet into the world's hurt and need. Sustain us in the dry seasons when we seem to have lost our way. And help us to lift our voice, employ our intellect, and harness our leadership to pursue peace, work for justice, and love beyond limits. Amen.
Good morning. I'm Benjamin Rifkin, Provost and Vice President for Educational Affairs, and it is a pleasure to welcome you to the 121st Commencement at Ithaca College. May I ask you all to please be seated. We have come together today to celebrate the achievements of the class of 2016. Each member of this class has followed her or his own unique path leading to this moment. You, our graduates, have worked hard inside of classrooms and outside of them, here in Ithaca and in locations around the world, in your internships and volunteer sites, as members of student organizations and as student athletes. You have been dedicated to your educational experience, to expanding your knowledge, your skills, and your understanding of yourselves and the world of which you are a part. The Ithaca College community, its alumni, students, administration, staff, and faculty all applaud you for your accomplishments and for all we know that you will do, both personally and professionally, in the years ahead. You have achieved much during your time here, and today we celebrate your achievements. I would like now to take a moment and specifically recognize graduates who have excelled academically. Would the students who have earned the distinction of summa cum laude please rise? Please stay standing, summa cum laude honorees. This honor is reserved for those students who have earned an overall grade point average of 3.900 and above. Summa cum laude students, please remain standing. Will the students who have earned the distinction of magna cum laude please rise? Magna cum laude distinction is reserved for those students who earn an overall grade point average of 3.700 to 3.899. Now, if you're standing, please remain standing. Would the students who earned the distinction of cum laude please rise? The cum laude distinction is reserved for those students who earn an overall grade point average of 3.500 to 3.699. Congratulations to all our students with these extraordinary academic accomplishments. Please be seated. Graduates, you know that you did not arrive at this moment without support from family and friends. Many of those individuals are here to celebrate with you today. I offer a special welcome and thank you to all those who have been so important in the lives of today's graduates. And students, I ask you to join me in giving them a round of applause. As we celebrate today, we also want to recognize the dedicated members of the Ithaca College community who have contributed to your educational experience. I am especially proud and appreciative of our faculty and their commitment to our students. Students, please join me in a round of applause for our faculty. We are also very proud and appreciative of the Ithaca College staff who have labored for you tirelessly to help make this day happen. Please, a round of applause for them too. And now a special recognition for a particular group of faculty, those who have recently achieved the title of Professor Emeritus. To be eligible for this status, a faculty member must have served at least 15 years at Ithaca College, have been tenured, and have achieved a sustained record of significant contributions in the areas of teaching, scholarship, and professional activity, as well as service to the college, profession, and community. This year, the college has conferred emeritus status on Dr. Stephen Clancy, Professor of Art History, Dr. Roger Hinderleiter, Associate Professor of Economics. Dr. Donald Lifton, Associate Professor of Management, awarded posthumously. And Dr. Kent Schreiber, Professor of Exercise and Sports Sciences. It is indeed an honor to pay tribute to such a distinguished gathering of retired faculty. We will forever be grateful to your service to the college, for your many years of dedicated teaching, and we extend our very best wishes to each and all of you. At this time, I invite our honorary degree candidates, Adam Ellick, Kenneth Fisher, and Francisco Nunez, to join us at the podium. Adam Ellick, your journalism documenting human rights abuses around the world has given voice to those previously voiceless. Your 2009 documentary with Irfan Ashraf, Class Dismissed, Malala's Story, brought Malala Yousafzai's advocacy of girls' education to the world. You documented Hugo Chavez's violent land raids in Venezuela, the lack of health care for Muslims confined to camps in Myanmar, the Arab Spring protests in Bahrain and Egypt, and the effects of a tsunami in Indonesia. Most recently, your co-produced video, The Killing of Farhunda, was awarded a Pulitzer Prize. This video tells the story of an Afghan woman falsely accused of burning the Quran and subsequently beaten and burned to death by a male mob in Kabul. It was produced exclusively from eyewitness video shot on mobile phones by onlookers and attackers themselves. You are not just a reporter, but a writer, editor, and producer of print and video. Through your work, you shine a bright light on the human dimensions of our global village. As Associate Professor of Journalism, Mead Loop observes of your work, there is no way he could have known the impact of his work when he did it, but I think that might be the lesson, that if you do good things for the right reasons, good things will follow. You have been a leader on the New York Times Innovation Report outlining digital disruption facing news organizations. The Innovation Report was described by Harvard's Nieman Journalism Lab as one of the key documents of this media age. In light of your contributions to journalism and to human rights around the world, we are honored this day to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Letters Honoris Causa.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Kenneth Fisher, your philanthropic work has provided comfort for thousands of military families. As chair and CEO of the Fisher House Foundation, you have assisted in building over 60 houses in the United States and Germany where families of hospitalized military personnel and veterans can be near their loved ones. You have also partnered with the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham and the organization Help for Heroes to open a Fisher House for British service families in the United Kingdom. Over 22,000 military families are served each year by the Fisher Houses, saving them hundreds of millions of dollars in lodging and travel costs since the founding of the first Fisher House in 1990. Your commitment to helping others is also demonstrated through your work on the executive committee of the City Investment Fund, which builds and strengthens the local economy in New York City. This multi-year $700 million plan brought together New York City's financial and business leaders to make a positive impact in the city. Fisher Foundation President David Coker opines, his energy is one of the first things you notice. He just operates one step ahead of everybody else. For your philanthropic and business endeavors, we are honored this day to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Commercial Science, Honoris Causa. Francisco Nunez, Your work as founder of the Young People's Chorus of New York City has provided children of diverse abilities and backgrounds the opportunity to participate in an enriching program of musical education and choral performance. In founding the chorus, you have enabled children to fulfill their musical potential and have created a model of artistic excellence that enriches the broader community. Your vision for the chorus has resulted in performances on PBS TV's From the Top at Carnegie Hall, NBC TV's Rockefeller Center tree lighting, and CNN's New Day. Composer David Del Tredici describes your success in achieving your vision by observing, the Young People's Chorus sang with precision and artistry at the highest level. They sang so incredibly it was inhuman. Francisco Nunez is the Horowitz of the choral world. Beyond the Young People's Chorus, you have expanded your musical reach by establishing a satellite program in inner-city New York schools that reaches hundreds of additional young people ages 7 to 18, as well as through after-school community choruses in Manhattan's Washington Heights neighborhood and at the Goddard Riverside Community Center. Your cutting-edge music commissioning series, Transient Glory, has premiered nearly 80 pieces composed specifically for the youth voice. Francisco Nunez, for your contributions in enriching the lives of children and of the community through high-quality musical experiences, we are honored this day to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Music, honoris causa. Please join me in a round of applause for all of our honorary degree candidates. And now, please join me in welcoming the 8th president of Ithaca College, Dr. Thomas R. Rashan.
Good morning, everybody. Today is a day of celebration. It's also a day of tradition. And I think it's that combination of tradition and celebration that make this a day in your lives that you will never forget. There are over 1,400 seniors and graduate students here today, and every one of you has been on a wonderful journey. Many of you started at Ithaca College in the fall semester 2012. I saw on top of one of your mortarboards marching in that today is 1,362 days later. At Convocation in fall of 2012, I asked you to take time to identify what you were hoping to accomplish during your years at Ithaca College. I urged you to be purposeful about the opportunities associated with being part of this rich campus learning environment. No moment spent on campus need be without meaning, I said at that time, including your recreational moments, your social moments, and your daydreaming moments. To live with purpose means to enjoy the moment, but at the same time to be conscious of the bigger picture of which that moment is part. Only you can decide what that bigger picture is, and I said on that day to ask yourself today, on your convocation day, before you get enmeshed in the tasks of the semester, 2 questions. What do you hope to accomplish while you're here? And if, as people tell you, college is a transformative experience for nearly everyone, then how do you hope to be transformed? Your answers to those questions need to be authentically yours, and you will have arrived at them during the time you've been on this campus. But I'd like to articulate what some of those answers are likely to be. While here, you will have opened yourself up to understanding the world in ways that were foreign to you when you first arrived at IC, and you will have achieved a breadth of perspective whose existence you probably did not suspect when you arrived. You will have opened yourself to embrace new ideas, to being comfortable with the unsettled feeling that comes from considering new ways of seeing things. Being open to new ideas doesn't mean always adopting them. It doesn't mean being a mere weather vane pointing in the direction the wind might be blowing at a given day. But it does mean being open to and even excited about the possibility of change, of incorporating new thinking into your being. I feel sure you've done exactly that while a student here at Ithaca College, and that you've done so repeatedly. It's a habit of thought that will stand you in good stead for the rest of your life. If you started your IC experience with thoughtful reflection, then I hope you'll finish it that way too. Before you redirect your gaze fully and firmly to the future, do find a quiet moment to reflect on the journey you've been on while a student here. What were the most important moments for you, and what did you learn from them? How do you think you'll apply those lessons in your future life? When you do this, I believe you'll find that some of the moments you identify involve time you spent with others, exploring some topic or trying to accomplish some goal together. The experience of genuine collaboration is powerful because it makes you aware of your own strengths and capacities, as well as your own limitations. In a true collaboration, you find that the outcomes are greater than anything you could have accomplished on your own. They're even greater than anything you would have conceived of as a goal at the beginning of the process. I'm equally sure that some moments you identify as most powerful in your IC experience were deeply private and personal. These are moments you spent alone, striving to understand something or to master some skill. They're moments of self-reflection about who you are, where you're going, and what you need to do to be successful in your journey. We are all social beings by nature, and yet it's only by checking our compass in a very personal way that we're able to remain true to ourselves. Your journey while at Ithaca College, as important as it is in its own right, is just prologue to the journey ahead. You'll always draw upon what you've learned here at IC, what you've learned about yourself and about others and about the world in general. You'll always build on the knowledge gained here. You'll test it against experience, and you'll revise it as needed. Each year, it's my privilege to leave the senior class with a quotation that I hope will say something meaningful about your time at IC, but also be of value to you in the journey ahead. If you look on the back of your medallion, you knew I was leading up to that? You'll see the African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Unlike many commencement day exhortations, this one does not urge on you one particular course of action. It's not like the advice to wear sunscreen, so famously given in an apocryphal parody of commencement speeches a few years ago. Sometimes in life, you will want to travel fast, and you will need to travel alone. At other times, you'll want to travel far, and you will choose to travel with others. I'm sure in your own lives there will be situations when you travel fast and there will be times when you travel far. I wish you wisdom and happiness in both. And meanwhile, congratulations on the successful conclusion of your journey here at Ithaca College. Now, you've already heard a little bit about our main speaker today, Adam Ellick, some of what he's accomplished in the field of journalism. Adam exemplifies the college's mission, which encourages our students to achieve excellence in their chosen fields while sharing the responsibilities of citizenship and service in the global community. After graduating from Ithaca College in 1999, Adam became one of the first reporters at the New York Times to bring print and video together. As part of a small leadership team, he helped rethink the strategic vision for the newspaper's video coverage, and he is, through that process, helping reshape the future of journalism itself. Through his visual storytelling, Adam has given not only names but also faces to individuals around the world who have suffered. Sometimes they've suffered from the destructive power of nature, sometimes from the destructive power of their fellow citizens and their own governments. Will you please join me in giving a warm welcome back home to Ithaca College to Adam Ellick.
Well, being back here brings back memories of my own graduation 17 years ago. My class had the privilege of hosting the great civil rights activist Maya Angelou. It's a huge honor to be back here today, but I've got to say, you've really lowered the bar around here. But it was raining just an hour ago, so I guess we're doing okay. On my graduation day, I was a lost kid sitting right over there at midfield, overwhelmed by this thing that everyone kept calling my future. What was this supposed future? I honestly didn't know what to do next. One option was to go home and hang out with my father, who had just been diagnosed with cancer. But even my father told me not to do that. He and everyone else said, go get a job. My personal life was a bit murky as well. I wanted to both marry my college girlfriend and travel the world. She told me to pick one or the other, and let's just say I'm still not married. Then there's Ernest Hemingway. He said you should start with one true sentence. And I had one of those about my life. I knew that I loved finding and telling stories. In fact, I discovered that just over there at the Ithaca, where I had my first major scoop, writing about how college athletes were being arrested for committing violent crimes, but some of them continued to play anyway. By the way, this was before people could hate you on Twitter, so they just hated you in person. A player came up to me on campus and called me a traitor, and players who worked at bouncers turned me away from the bars, even though I was 21. But I had one true thing: putting a spotlight on stuff that I know is wrong. So with that one fact, I set off to become a journalist. Now, you've invited me here today to offer you some prescription for success or a prescription for a fulfilling life. So I should warn you about a few things. If you aspire to make money, I can't help you. I just read a report ranking the top 200 jobs in the United States, and reporters were dead last. Number 200, even below disc jockeys. If you aspire to become a parent, I can't help you either. The last time I was responsible for another life, my goldfish died within a week. But journalism has taught me pretty much everything I do know, and it's given me some commandments or guiding principles that I think are useful no matter what field you're in. The first one is fake it till you make it. Starting out, I had no credentials and no credibility as a journalist, so I started my own news service and I called it Ellick News Link, and I sent proposals to newspapers using the first person plural. We can cover this unfolding story in Moscow for you. There was no we, and I had never been to Russia. But at least I didn't hire John Miller to be my spokesman. Amazingly, this actually worked. We were soon freelancing in Siberia. We covered the world's deadliest tsunami in 2004 from Indonesia. I'll still never forget the stench of death, so putrid that you don't want to hold your nose. You just want to grab your gut. Eventually, I joined the Times and witnessed some of the worst places imaginable, like concentration camps in Myanmar, where 1 million people were trapped without medicine. I get to leave when I'm finished my work, but it's important to remember that many of these people who I report on are still there in these conditions. The most selfless person I ever met was a man named Tom Katena. He's an American living in Sudan, and he was and still is the only doctor serving 500,000 people, even though his hospital has been bombed 10 times. Oh, and by the way, if you're thinking that this sounds like no fun, I wrote a feature story about a bondage and sexual fetish factory in the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. The workers there thought they were making Halloween costumes. I was soon the rare journalist in the world who could say he's been threatened by Ithaca College athletes and the Taliban. But at a certain point, I wasn't faking it anymore. I was just observing my second principle, which is follow your curiosity. Just try stuff. My mantra has always been to try stuff, and guess what? So was yours. We are born curious and carefree. When I was 4, I climbed into a dishwasher and closed the door because I wanted to know how it works. And I'm sure you all did something similar. As kids, we inquire, we wonder, we take risks, and then somewhere between childhood and adulthood, we're trained to be correct and not to ask questions that risk making us look stupid. My big break at the Times came when an editor proposed that I move to Pakistan. I'd never studied it. I had no family there. It was not my problem. But few things excite me more than showing up in a new place and trying to figure it out. Before I arrived, I read a short article that mentioned the Taliban were about to close schools for girls, and I had a ton of questions. How's that even possible? Why would they want to do that? Why isn't everybody writing about it? What does this mean for a generation of girls who may grow up without schooling? Is it safe for me to go there? When I got there, I asked the local reporter how many girls may lose their education next week, and his answer shocked me. 50,000 schoolgirls. When I heard that number, I knew I had to do something. A scavenger hunt for answers led me to the owner of a school and his shy 10-year-old daughter named Malala. At the time, the family was unknown to the outside world. They lived in a town that was encircled by Taliban checkpoints. The center was renamed Slaughter Square. I asked Malala's dad if there's a family that I could film, and he laughed in my face and said no one would agree to such a crazy idea. What about you? I said. He wanted to know what was in it for him, and I told him I wanted the world to know what was happening, and he could help. What followed is that he made a brave and dangerous decision to let me into his life. My film has now been seen by millions of people, and it brought this faraway crisis to the world's attention, and Malala won the Nobel Peace Prize. But curiosity can work in less exotic places. One night I was walking home in New York, minding my own business, when I spotted a guy named Jorge Munoz who was serving food out of his pickup truck. Best food truck in the world? Not quite. When I asked what he's selling, he said, "It's not for you, man. These guys are homeless and hungry." "Oh, what organization are you with?" "I'm alone, man." "How long have you been doing this?" "Every night for 3 years." "You got a day job?" "Yeah, I'm a school bus driver." Eventually, I profiled Jorge, and readers donated tens of thousands of dollars, enough for him to start a nonprofit. When we first met, he was feeding 30 guys a night. Jorge never won a Nobel Peace Prize, but that doesn't matter to the 150 people he now feeds every night. And by the way, curiosity can sometimes just be really simple. Like whenever I travel to a new country, people always ask me, "How long was the flight?" The flight. I get to witness revolutions and interview leaders, and they're worried about how many stopovers or what airline I took or what's the time difference. These are absolutely the least interesting parts of my trips. The point here is just that curiosity means going beyond what's familiar to you, beyond what you already know. Now, I'll be the first to admit that following your curiosity is not easy, which leads me to my next principle: embrace the fear. As a journalist, I don't let fear rule my life, but I also use it productively. Fear is natural. Sometimes it takes more strength to be weak. In the field, fear is kind of like my guide. It's a logic meter that steers me toward making smarter decisions. Once I backed out of an interview with a warlord at the last minute because I wasn't entirely sure of his background. I felt afraid, and I have no regrets. When I return to the States from assignments like that, people ask me, "Weren't you afraid?" They almost never ask, "What did you learn?" In my experience, very well-intentioned people, your parents included, will keep warning you about the dangers of trying stuff. When you tell them your plans, they will tell you the risks. 9 out of 10 Americans live within 150 miles of where they're born. But if you spend your whole life avoiding fear, you will miss out on so many experiences. My third principle is show compassion, even for people you dislike. As I reported Malala's story, I was journalistically obligated to talk to the other side, and I'll never forget that awkward phone call to a Taliban leader named Muslim Khan. I had to call and ask his perspective on bombing schools for girls. There's real journalistic and personal benefit to listening to people who you abhor. I obviously don't condone the Taliban, their violence, and their reckless murder. But I do regret not including more about their views in my film. I should have explained their radical religious interpretations and their deep ancestral grievances. For example, they told me that they're not actually against girls' education. They are against secular education. You may be thinking, who cares what the Taliban think? They shoot schoolgirls, they're evil. But opposing views don't just go away over time. We can't just zap entire ideologies from Earth, even though we try with drones. Muslim Khan was killed by one, in fact, but the ideologies he espoused still thrive. I know a bit, only a bit, about the recent racial tension on this campus. Minority students here seem to feel that their rights have been so ignored for many years, and I can see why they think that. In my senior year, the Ithacan wrote a cover story about this very issue 17 years ago. I also gather that today's administration feels it made some mistakes, but that it was frustrated by the no dialogue movement. I've covered many protests, including the Arab Spring, where I was tear gassed and detained. And here's one thing that I noticed from the ground. There were large-scale protests. Several leaders were ousted, but there wasn't a lot of listening. And in the end, not much really changed. Compassion means that you can't win by huddling among your own. One of my Harvard professors, Ron Heifetz, put it this way: conflict is the primary engine of creativity and innovation. People don't learn by staring into a mirror. People learn by encountering difference. This leads to my fourth principle: cultivate a critical viewpoint, something I first learned here under the mentorship of Ben Crane. Knew that was coming. Take nothing at face value. One of my favorite questions is, how exactly do you know that? I say this so much at work. I also say this all the time outside of work, which makes me really unpopular at dinner parties. The only other people who think this is a normal question are scientists. In his last show, Jon Stewart ranted about how bullshit is everywhere. Here are a few of those places. Facebook. I once wrote an expose about this tycoon who ran a mortgage scam that preyed on poor immigrants. His page bragged that he was a college graduate who was a man of the people. So I called his alma mater, and they had no record of him. What followed was an entire life of lies. Bullshit is also in Washington. But I don't need to give you an example on that. Media can transmit bullshit too. A college student faked a video of an eagle snatching a baby. It has 45 million views, and global news outlets broadcasted it as truth. Many of you have probably seen it. Maybe that's not a big deal, but this is. Since 9/11, there have been 20 attackers in the US inspired by radical Islam. We often debate how to keep out foreign attackers, but 15 of those 20 were US citizens. Get these facts, and suddenly the challenge becomes a more domestic one and less about foreigners. You are already living deep in a world of self-interested spin, optical illusions, photoshopped images, and viral video hoaxes. If you are a passive consumer of the world around you, you will get burned. Of course, none of this matters if you don't hand your story in on time, and that leads me to my last principle, which comes from journalism but applies everywhere. Finish things. You're about to do just that. I learned that also here at Ithaca from my college advisor and professor and mentor, Jill Swenson. She is here today. She drove in from Wisconsin. She's afraid to fly. I got to tell you, Dr. Swenson was a drill sergeant of a professor. Here's how tough she was. One day, a student named Dana arrived early to class and realized she had left an important assignment in her dorm room. She asked Dr. Swenson if she could sprint to the towers and get it, and Dr. Swenson said, "I don't care what you do. The paper is due in 12 minutes. We all thought Dana, who played soccer, would make it back in time. But when Dana darted into class just seconds after the deadline, Dr. Swenson refused to accept the paper. Even my editors at the Times are a bit more forgiving. But I still think of Dr. Swenson every time I'm on deadline. In the next few years, you're going to face many turning points in your life. Who to date, what job truly fulfills you, and where to live. After my graduation, and before my journey abroad, I actually did move back home. My father hated the idea of his illness holding me back and delaying my life. But I told him, this is life. We spent a precious 6 months together doing rehab exercises and transforming a family relationship into an actual friendship. Less than a year later, he died. I'm not here to tell you you should go live with your parents. Or that you should go... Glad we all agree on that. Or that you should go live in Afghanistan. What you should do is figure out at least one true thing about yourselves and follow it, even when doing so is terrifying. That may mean dating someone of a different race or social class. It may mean joining a cause that clashes with your family's politics. If you feel unadventurous, but are curious to give it a try, I don't know, start by ordering some food that you've never tried before. Or on your next vacation, just travel to some place that nobody you know has ever been to, like Guyana instead of Paris. Or move to a city where you know fewer people and will be forced to branch out. And please don't ask people about their flights. Ask them what happens once they landed. Or better yet, be on that flight yourself. I'll see you there. Good luck, good health, good listening, and great adventures to the class of 2016. May the force be with you.
Adam, thank you. We knew already to be grateful for the stories you've told the world, but thank you so much for telling us your story today. It will help us make our own stories as a result of your insights. I've got to say, with all respect to Maya Angelou, I don't think we've lowered the bar. Do you? Our students today take on many important leadership roles during their time at Ithaca College. Students participate in these roles and receive valuable learning experience, but they also provide incredible service to their fellow students and to the college community as a whole. I'd like to introduce 5 extraordinary individuals, the senior class officers. Each of these students, along with their classmates, has provided valued leadership this year, including the organization of class events and the class gift campaign, as well as helping select our commencement speaker. First, the Senior Class Director of Communications, Skylar Norton Bushelot. The Senior Class Director of Finance, Nathan Antonacci. The Senior Class Director of Marketing, Nora Bridget Noon. The Senior Class Vice President, Natalie Beatrice Dion. And the Senior Class President, Marlo Padilla. Joining them on the platform are the 2 Senior Class Gift Committee co-chairs, Pamela Arbeles and Allison Dunzik. Now I'd like to introduce the Senior Class President, Marlo Padilla. Marlo is a cinema and photography major from High Bridge, New Jersey. In addition to his role as Senior Class President, Marlo has served in a number of different roles during his time at Ithaca College, including orientation leader and student leadership consultant for OSEMA. He also served as a President's Host tour guide for 3.5 years. Marlo has shown a true passion for service, having been a participant and leader on 2 different alternative spring break trips. Marlo's involvement at Ithaca College was honored this year by being selected to receive the Campus Life Award. In the spring of 2015, Marlo studied in Sydney, Australia. and after graduation will be headed back to Australia to work as a program assistant for students traveling abroad there. Marlo Padilla.
It is an honor to speak to you all at the 121st Ithaca College Commencement. Class of 2016, I know that most of us have had our fair share of graduations. It is for this reason that I'm refraining from discussing journeys, roads and paths, new chapters, and proving to you all that the world is your oyster. We know this. It's what we've been told our whole lives. We've done everything up to this point in search of a better tomorrow. And that tomorrow is Monday, May 23rd. On that day, will you wake up to find the real world come crashing towards you? Will some sort of epiphany strike you at the stroke of midnight tonight? Will your life be drastically different from the one you've been accustomed to for the past 20+ years of existence? For some of us, yes, but for the majority, we won't know until tomorrow gets here. I want you to close your eyes as I take you back to your very first day as an official Ithaca College student. Do you remember where you sat in the car, bus, or plane on your way here? What did you think of seeing everything you were so familiar with shrink smaller and smaller through your view at the window? I think it's safe to say that all of us were more than just a little anxious. All of us began thinking of the most horrific experiences that would only make the trip more difficult. For example, what if my roommate was a nose picker? Or what if I had no one to eat with in the dining hall? Or worse, what if people remembered how awkward I was at Club O? These were just a few of our troubles. The hours passed, and eventually you saw signs indicating that Ithaca, New York was no more than 10 miles away. This is it, you think to yourself. There's no going back now. And then suddenly, there it is. The towers peering from the hill, the Ithaca College sign greeting you at the front, and maybe at that point, you wondered if you've made the right decision. The car gets parked. One by one, each piece of luggage you've packed leaves decreasing the weight of the car, but the weight of uncertainty increases in your stomach. Stair after stair, elevator after elevator, one box after the other, you've successfully made the first part of your transition. Your guardians look at you one last time, and you say a goodbye that's unlike the ones you've ever said before. Some of you shed tears, but others grow giddy with excitement. The rest of you are curious of what is to come next. Here I am. You probably wondered as your parents left giving you your first second to breathe. Now what? You may now open your eyes. Throughout our time at Ithaca, we've been bombarded with assignments, projects, and essays that have added up to 120 credit hours or more worth of a degree. But unknowingly, we were assigned another project, one that wouldn't just take a semester to complete, but rather 4 years. An art project, so to speak, that required us to vividly capture our college experience through a variety of mediums. Well, our exhibition day has arrived at the 121st commencement, with our audience, our friends and family, here today to view our work. Now, some of you might be thinking, me, an artist? I thought I opted out of the ICC. And while we are all not artists in the same way, we do, however, have the power of creating something, whatever that may be. And after these 4 years, we've created something unlike anything we've seen before. We've created sculptures, paintings, and drawings of our experiences that have shaped who we are as individuals. And ultimately, we have become the best version of ourselves at this very moment in time. We've successfully completed our work. It's framed, polished, and ready to be shown. Yet each one of us took different methods to get to this point. Some of us painted our experience through extracurricular activities and athletics, while others drew on their canvases with the lessons learned from studying abroad. Many of us spent sleepless nights revising, erasing, and patching up our projects, wondering if it was worth giving up, only to be revitalized, inspired, and powered by CTB sandwiches and coffee, various gorges and hiking trails, downtown festivals, and the company of our friends to help give us that boost to complete the project in its entirety. But some of us are still not ready. Some of us would like just a few more days to color within the lines of Mooney's Trivia and sculpt a mountain of tacos during late night on Tuesday. Some of us are not ready to put the pen, brush, or tool down. But we've done all the work that we can do, and rightfully, it's our time to celebrate. Yet a majority of us have now begun to ask the same question we asked on the first day we stepped onto this campus. Now what? When tomorrow comes, where will you put this project or college experience? Will you hang it up next to the drawing you did in the 3rd grade on the fridge? Or is it large enough that it will cover the wall above the fireplace? Maybe by accident it will get caught under a pile of old textbooks or fill the walls of your master bedroom. Regardless of what you do with this project, carry it with pride. In your future job interviews, use this project to capitalize on how you have grown as an individual. Carry it with you to your next apartment, whether it's in New York City, Los Angeles, or London, and even to the first house you purchase all on your own. Share it with your family, your loved ones, and don't forget to revisit it and share it with yourself. Be proud of your work and thank yourself for your previous struggles. Thank yourself for the time you gave up your weekend and pulled an all-nighter to finish an assignment. Thank yourself for taking a night home alone in order to focus on you. Most importantly, thank yourself for finishing what you started 4 years ago. Carry this finished product and experience with pride, love, and honor. Keep it close to you and never forget what it has made you. Graduates, take a moment now to look to the person to your left, the person to your right, and the person sitting in front of you and behind you. Introduce yourselves. Congratulate each other on a job well done. In some way, you've all played a part in each other's successes. While all of you possess unique qualities and talents, you all have one thing in common. You are all a part of the Ithaca College class of 2016. Some of the individuals who are sitting next to you will be our future leaders: artists, scientists, doctors, entrepreneurs, teachers, innovators. Each of you have the power to make a difference in the world we live in today. And while I'm here telling you this now at commencement, I cannot express how important it is to remember this power that each and every one of you have. Speak up, educate, create, vote. But most importantly, learn. Remember, you are not your mistakes, rather you are the will that can help you overcome whatever life throws your way. Besides, there's something beautiful about challenges and struggle. It's what carried you here to this very moment. This is something we cannot take lightly. And while you're out there, killing it in the real world, don't forget the ones who believed in you to begin with. Call your parents or your guardians. Let them know what you made for dinner that night. Call your friends. Spend hours talking about that Game of Thrones or Star Wars premiere. FaceTime your dog, your cat, your fish. And don't forget to say happy birthday to your brothers and sisters on Facebook, because we all know if we don't wish our loved ones happy birthday on social media, it doesn't really count. But honestly, never forget the ones who saw you in your worst moments, who told you everything would be okay. Because guess what? Look where you are right now. While we're on the subject, I'd like to thank a few individuals in my life who have gotten me here today. To Natalie, Nora, Nathan, Skylar, and Sam, thank you all for agreeing to be a part of this team. Thank you for showing me each and every day how lucky I am to be a part of something much greater than myself. Thank you to the Office of Student Engagement and Multicultural Affairs for always believing in me and pushing me to do better. You have shown me that the first step in leading is to follow, and I am ready to follow my own greatness. Thank you to my writing professor, Katie Marks, who helped me with this speech and for showing me the beauty of self-reflection. To my mom and dad, 4 years ago, we would have laughed at the prospect of me earning a degree, let alone be on this stage today. After all the difficulties, tears, and hard work, I am so proud and honored to stand here and recite this speech in your presence. Every day I feel lucky to be your son, but for some reason today, I feel like the luckiest man on the planet. And finally, thank you to the Ithaca College faculty, staff, and of course, the class of 2016. Thank you all for your kindness, your laughter, and your valuable lessons. As I close, I'd like to read you all an excerpt from a short piece by a poet named Rupi Kaur, who reminds us again to never forget the importance of the art we create. Your art is not about how many people like your work. Your art is about if your heart likes your work, if your soul likes your work. It's about how honest you are with yourself. Thank you, class of 2016, for helping me paint a most unforgettable portrait of this time. I will carry you all with pride wherever I go. Today, celebrate all you've accomplished with those who helped you get here. Tomorrow, on May 23rd, don't be scared to ask yourself, now what? You have all the power to pick when and where you begin your next project. Congratulations, class of 2016.
Do you want to open? Good morning. I'm Pamela Arbeliz, and this is Allison Dunsig. And we're the class of 2016 Senior Class Gift Committee co-chairs. We would like to invite Michael Conover, alumni trustee, to join us at the podium.
For over 35 years, seniors have left their legacy at Ithaca College by participating in one of the oldest traditions, the Senior Class Gift Campaign. Last September, we kicked off our campaign during Alumni Weekend and set out to leave our legacy by supporting the Ithaca College Annual Fund.
The IC Annual Fund has touched each of our lives and has supported the development of the Ithaca College experience, a high-quality, hands-on, interdisciplinary education that provided us with the opportunities to grow into our true selves. This life-changing experience is one that I am forever grateful for and will never forget.
As we stand before you today, we are pleased to announce that after launching our campaign 8 months ago, our class has supported the college we love so much with 33% senior class participation. This year, we really came together as a class to support the future of Ithaca College. Thank you to the 463 people who participated in our campaign and helped us to raise $8,023 for our alma mater. Mr. Conover, on behalf of the class of 2016, we present this check to Ithaca College.
I think we have to. We would like to give special recognition to the members of the Senior Class Gift Committee, whose hard work, perseverance, dedication, and leadership made our campaign a success. These members can be recognized with a Green Honor Cord.
Thank you to the Board of Trustees for your interest and involvement in our efforts. And a huge thank you to the Alumni Association Board of Directors for your personal and financial support of our campaign. Your match challenged us to reach greater heights of participation.
And most importantly, senior class donors. Thank you again for graciously supporting our campaign efforts and carrying on the tradition of philanthropy at IC. We couldn't have accomplished this without you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam, Allie, for this generous gift from the senior class to the college. On behalf of the Alumni Association, this is indeed a pleasure to congratulate all the graduates and their parents and welcome you to the Ithaca College alumni community. You join more than 56,000 IC alumni located all around the world. Ithaca is forever with you, and it will shine on you someday. Its light. Again, thank you and best wishes.
Good morning. I'm Tom Grape, class of 1980, and I have the privilege of serving as Ithaca College's chairman of the Board of Trustees. First, wasn't Adam awesome? And I have to say, Marlo, you were pretty awesome yourself. I'm honored to be able to celebrate this day with our newest IC graduates and with our faculty, staff, students, families, and friends. I was hoping that the weather of 2 days ago I'd be able to say to the families it was always like that in Ithaca, but actually it's sort of a lot like this in Ithaca. But commencement is one of my favorite activities as a volunteer for the college because it really is such a vivid reminder of why I've remained so closely connected to the IC community. As I reflect on my career, I can see so many aspects of the person I am today that really I first recognized from my time here as an IC student. And I'm sure that many of the graduates today will feel the same experience. I think that part of that discovery happens because of the deeply intensive learning and practicing and performing, growing and exploring that marks the IC experience in such a unique and distinctive way. Part of it comes from the nurturing bonds that you forged with your friends, professors, coaches, and mentors. In fact, Adam, you've heard speak to those from his experience 17 years ago. Part of it comes from the opportunities you've all seized here at IC to jump feet first into what you love to do. And part of it comes from the way you've each learned to face hardship and crisis. You've each worked very hard in your time here. I actually hope you've even failed now and then, because failure is a great teacher. That's where we each find the wells of courage and commitment that we each didn't know we had. Though the Ithaca College that I graduated from 36 years ago was in some ways very similar and in some ways very different than what it is today, you and I have that journey in common. It's something that unites us across generations of alumni. I know that while you've been here, you've also helped to shape the Ithaca College experience, not only for yourselves, but also for future generations of students. You've participated passionately in the life of a campus that is striving with great vitality to become a truer expression of its values, to become far more than the sum of its parts, and to become the best version of itself it can possibly be. The events that took place at our campus this past fall brought that striving into sharp relief. But I know that the work to build a better community extends much farther and deeper than these past few months. It's a calling that does not dissipate just because an academic year or an undergraduate career comes to a close. I hope that you will always celebrate your own remarkable strength and joy as students, and I hope that you always will remain close to your extended IC family wherever you go in the world. And I sincerely hope you will join me in staying connected, staying involved, and helping the Ithaca College that we all love so dearly to continue to learn and grow and stretch and lean bravely into its challenges, just as it helped you to do. But that's my invitation for tomorrow. Today, in this moment, I simply invite you all to take a deep breath, to look around, and fix your thoughts and emotions in this moment so you will be able to readily recall them, because today, you made it. We will now begin the conferral of degrees for members of the Ithaca College class of 2016. President Roshan.
It's great that we're all here today again, isn't it? And why are we here? For this part right now. I'm going to call on the deans of our 5 schools in the order of their founding to present the graduate and undergraduate degree candidates. Oh, this corner of the stadium knows the order of founding. I invite the Dean of Music, Carl Polnack, to come forward.
Candidates for all degrees from the School of Music, please rise. President Roshan, I have the honor to present these enthusiastic candidates who have fulfilled their requirements and who are duly recommended by the faculty for the appropriate degrees, be it Master of Music, Master of Science, Bachelor of Music, or Bachelor of Arts. Candidates, please be seated.
Dean of the School of Humanities and Sciences, Michael Richardson.
Candidates for all degrees from the School of Humanities and Sciences, please rise. President Roshan, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and who were duly recommended by the faculty for the appropriate degree, be it Master of Science, Master of Arts in Teaching, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts, or Bachelor of Fine Arts. Candidates, please be seated.
Dean of the Park School of Communications, Diane Gajewski.
Fellow Park School inhabitants, candidates, please rise. President Roshan, I have the great honor to present these wonderful candidates who will be very much missed, who have fulfilled the requirements and have been duly recommended by the faculty for the degrees of Master of Science, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts, or Bachelor of Fine Arts. Candidates, please be seated.
Dean of the School of Business, Sean Reed.
Candidates for all degrees from the School of Business, please rise. President Roshan, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and who are duly recommended by the faculty for the appropriate degree, be it Master of Business Administration, Bachelor of Science, or Bachelor of Arts. Yeah! Candidates, please be seated.
From the School of Health Science and Human Performance, Dean Linda Petrosino.
Candidates for the degrees from the School of Health Sciences and Human Performance, please rise. President Roshan, I have the honor to present these candidates who have fulfilled the requirements and who are duly recommended by the faculty for the degree of Doctor of Physical Therapy, Master of Science, Bachelor of Science, or Bachelor of Arts. Candidates, please be seated.
And now will the candidates for all undergraduate and graduate degrees in the class of 2016 please rise, all of you. By the authority vested in me by the Regents of the University of the State of New York and the Trustees of Ithaca College, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree for which you have been recommended by the faculty, with all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining thereto. I'd like to invite each of you now to join me. Actually, you can't join me. Mine is fixed. But join me in moving your tassel from the right side to the left side of your mortarboard. Class of 2016, congratulations. You may be seated, graduates.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated until the faculty and graduates have recessed from the stadium.